Hey, what's up? I'm Colby from Sanitarium Productions. I'm back again with another exciting G.I. Joe toy review for you. Today we're continuing along with our Retaliation release reviews. Today we're looking at the Zartan release. The figure itself looks kind of weird, to be honest with you. I don't really know what to think about this particular figure, but it does have one really cool feature that I'm interested in seeing. It's got this cool glowing eye thing, supposedly, so yeah, we're going to take a look at that and see how it works. As in some of our other Retaliation figure reviews, the packaging is kind of beat up on this one. I got a really good deal on a lot of these, so we're going to go through there and open them all up, and specifically we're going to look at this cool color change eye glow feature and see if it actually works, so stick with us. Zartan! This is a very cool character and a very odd looking figure in this particular line, to be honest. I'm not really sure what to think about it. It's a very strange looking interpretation of Zartan. But packaging wise, it does come in the traditional Retaliation packaging. Very basic packaging that, as I stated before, I'm not a big fan of this particular style, but it is what it is. Looking at the back of it, we've got the figure posed and a couple of the other additional figures you can get in the line. Let's go ahead and open this thing up. Simple enough. The insert for the figure, which I'm not using for anything, so it goes into the recycling bin, but it's kind of cool looking. It's interesting enough in its own right. The rest of the packaging itself is just toss away. Nothing really special about it. And then we have Zartan. The one thing I will note about this particular figure is there is not a battle stand included. So, that's kind of weird. All the rest of them have had it so far, but this is, I think, the only second Retaliation figure I've opened. So we'll kind of keep a running tally and see how many of them actually come with them and how many don't. But regardless, we'll pull out the weapons here. Pretty cool looking crossbow. Yeah, anyways. You've got Zartan himself. Go ahead and get him out. Very odd looking figure. We do have his arrow backpack, which is made out of this really flimsy plastic. As you can see, it's wobbling all over the place, but it is included anyways. We also have a sword sheath for the two swords. We've got the second sword. The other one is in his hand already. You've got 3 additional heads. This one is Storm Shadow. This one is a regular trooper, so probably supposed to be like Duke, I guess. And then a Snake Eyes head. And that's all the accessories we get. He does have a pistol in his hand. And we'll zoom in a minute here and take a look. And the other smaller knife sword thing that is rubber banded to his hand. So go ahead and get that out. Take that rubber band off. So yeah, here's all the things that come in this package. Overall, pretty decent amount of accessories here. We'll go ahead and zoom in now and take a closer look. So for this one, we're going to go ahead and start with the figure. He's a lanky looking figure. And he just looks weird, to be honest with you. I don't really know how I feel about this, but I don't know. It's just odd. Regardless of all that, there is some nice detail work going on. His vest looks pretty cool. He does have some nice detail work going on. Yeah. The head itself, articulation-wise, there is really not any articulation on it because the hood itself is kind of molded into the chest piece. So in order to take that off, we're going to have to take off the armor. So you are going to be limited. I mean, the head does turn inside there, but you really can't do a whole lot with it. So, yeah. Traditional shoulder joint there, ball and swivel. Ball and swivel at the elbow. Then the wrist is a standard just swivel joint. The waist or the ab crunch feature is present, and it's actually got quite a range of motion here, which is nice, if it does still look a little awkward. Traditional T-hook for the hip joint. Looks like a single knee joint as opposed to the double ones that we traditionally get. And then actually no articulation at the ankle. So yeah, slightly limited articulation on this particular figure. So kind of weird, but still it's weird. It is weird. On his chest piece here, you can see they have molded in a knife. It is non-removable though, which is a shame, but it's at least there, so got that going for him anyways. There's also a small sheath here on his back. So if you were to take like his pistol here, it'll just kind of clamp in there like that and hold itself in place. And you can also take like a crossbow and stick it there. So yeah, there's all sorts of cool stuff you can do with that particular sheath. Not many of them make sense, but at least the pistol does work. So one of the action features I'll go ahead and point out. If you look at the top of his head, you've got this little slit in the actual hood. If you look at like these additional heads, you'll notice there is this red prism kind of thing there. The idea is that if you shine a light in there, the eyes will glow red. And I'm not sure if that actually works or not. It actually does. I don't know how well this will pick up, but it works really well in person, if not on film. So it's kind of a cool feature. Been nicer if it worked a little bit better, but I think the eyes are just really small is the problem. I don't know if we can get a little closer on this, if we can see it any more, any better. There we go. You can kind of see it like that. So it's kind of a cool feature. Yeah. Not really much use. As far as the head swap, you do have to remove his entire chest harness. You just pop this little buckle off the side and then kind of slip his arm through there, and this entire piece just lifts off and away. And there we go. So the head that he comes with has actually got a green thing on here. So if we kind of try to zoom in on this one and see how well this works, so you can kind of see cool green glowing eyes. That's actually a pretty cool little trick. The idea of it is a lot cooler than the actual execution, I do believe. But it's still nice that they kind of thought about it a little bit and tried to give him a halfway decent action feature. Just didn't quite get there, I don't think, but still. So to remove the head, you just pull it on it and it pops off, and then you can just swap out the heads for any of the rest of these that you want. You can add the chest thing back, but at this point probably not much need to, mainly because the other characters don't wear hoods and that would be a dead giveaway. So taking it for what it is without that, these figures actually look pretty good. The Storm Shadow one looks pretty nice. The regular Joe one actually ends up looking pretty cool too, if a little bit like Mike Myers in the face. And then the Snake Eyes one doesn't have the cool glowy eye feature. So if you just look at it as a Snake Eyes figure, it makes a little bit more sense, and it looks a little better actually. So I'm thinking this probably would have been a much better Snake Eyes base figure than a Zartan base figure, but it does work. So we'll give them props for that anyways. Conceptually, it's really nice. Execution, not so much. Let's stick it back on here so we can continue with the review. There we go. And then we just pop that little tab back in there. And voila, you're ready to go again. Moving on, we do have this really cool crossbow. Nice detail work. That's about all I'm going to say about it. It's pretty straightforward. We've got the arrows and the quiver. It does fit on his back pretty easily. Just like so. You can kind of push them to the side so you can see them over his shoulder. So pretty nice. Then he has his sheaths for his swords. Very basic. But again, it just plugs into the back there pretty easily. The swords are meant to be these kind of full tang combat knife swords. And they look pretty nice. There's not a whole lot of detail work on them, but they still work pretty well. Then they just fit in the sheath like so. And I will point out that the plastic is a little flimsy, so you may have to kind of stick them in there to get them to line up correctly so they don't poke out the back end. But they fit in there pretty easily, pretty nicely. And then you stick it on his back and it just works. So yeah, it works. I guess it looks a little bit better that way. Then he's got this pistol here, which is, again, pretty nice detail work. Very flat and very basic. But it still works pretty nicely. And it does fit in his hand easily. Nothing spectacular. Then he can take his crossbow and stick it in his other hand. And it fits in here very loosely, but it does fit. So he can carry everything except for his quiver of arrows. So he's got 2 backpacks, but can only fit 1 at a time. And he does have the additional holster type thing on the back, so you can switch out some of the pistol for the swords and get most everything in one fell swoop, I guess. So yeah, overall, it's it's not really a bad Zartan figure. It's definitely a departure from the traditional Zartan that we've seen everywhere else. The light up eye feature is pretty cool, but didn't quite translate as well to the 3 3/4 inch scale as one might hope. But it is still a kind of cool feature, and we'll try it here with yeah, with the hood on, it's not quite as effective either. But it was a cool attempt anyways. So yeah, I don't know, I'd probably say just pass on this particular figure. If you're a completist, you'll probably want it, but if not, then there's really not much use in getting it. It's not all that amazing. But, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look half bad. I'm just meh on it, I guess. That's our review for the G.I. Joe Retaliation Zartan figure. Overall, not much going on with this figure. The little trick with the eye thing is cool, but doesn't quite work as well as you might think. So yeah, I'm unfortunately going to have to say you can pass this figure up. It's not really worth the trouble of getting. If you find it for a very cheap price, then yeah, pick it up. But otherwise, you're probably just going to steer clear of it. So that's a shame too, because it had some potential, but didn't quite get there. So that's all the time we've got for today. Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Check out some of our other videos. Leave some comments down below. Until next time, Yo Joe.